What's going on, guys? What's cracking? Today is a good day. Today we're working on making some more hoses for the wife's car. We're going to be using, again, Red Horse Performance. Thank you guys very much. I can't thank that company enough. These guys have sent me so many fittings, so much hose. It is amazing. So what we're doing today is starting our catch can lines. I don't have a catch can yet, but it looks like I'm going to use the Vibrant catch can. And the reason for that is it's cheap. It's effective. It does have like this mesh filter, which I really like. I'm gonna have to probably put some more filtering agent inside of it. What I mean by that, I'll have to probably put some mesh inside, which I'll show you in a video once I get that catch can. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of tweaking to make it work perfect, but it should be pretty good. I'm gonna show you what I've started here so far. So again, look, this engine bay, just would you look at it? Would you though? So what we have here, I have these radium press-in fittings. If you haven't seen that video before, go search it up right now, or I'll link it down below here. Go check it out. These are press-in fittings from Radium. So it's to keep it as close to the factory valve covers as possible. See how close it is here? And they do swivel. So they do swivel up and down. Now, with those, I am going to use a Red Horse Performance straight on fitting, some Red Horse Performance hose, and then I gotta figure out which fittings I'm gonna use for the can, because the can uses 10-10 fittings also. I just not sure yet. So the line and stuff that I'm cutting, I'm leaving it long on purpose. I know where I want it to sit, but I'm leaving the hose long on purpose as I just wanna make sure I get it pretty darn close. So I went ahead and put the one hose on. So let me show you about putting the other one on here. So I've got the hose here. I've already snipped it down. So what I'm going to do is just like I've done in previous videos, that cut is atrocious. Look at that angle. Ryan, that is bad. So I'm going to have to recut that, but I'm going to be putting on these -10 fittings, Red Horse. So I need to go ahead and spin this one off. I had these on just because I was trying to test fit them there a little bit. Just typical straight on fittings. I'm not using PTFE for this. This is their Viton style rubber line. Now you could use nitrile line for this as it's not pressurized. Yes, is it going to see some ED5 blow by? Yes. But the hose line's so big, it deterioration over time. It's not like it's sitting in it. It would be okay, but better safe than sorry. So I'm using their Viton version of their line. So what does that mean? Per usual, it means it has an inner Viton rubber bore, and then the outside is a steel braid within a nylon braid that's tightly woven. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is start spinning this on. Again, per usual, you're gonna wanna take this outer collar here. Let me set the camera up. So per usual, guys, you just want this outer collar first. And spin this off. I don't want to drop it, so I'm not trying to spin it too fast. Because my luck, I'll drop it and nick it, and then I'll get upset. So this is what you want to take off first, this outer like collar. And then you're going to slip this down over the hose. You can see it's kind of like beveled out here. That's kind of nicked up there from me messing with it. Now, I could use, is this end fresh? Let's see if this end's fresh and good. It is not. That looks atrocious, Ryan. Look at that. I must have cut that at one time. Oof, that's bad. So let me cut this end here so I can make it nice and straight. Now that we've got our hose end cut nice and straight, we're gonna take this, move this over here. We're gonna take that, so take this and just press it down so we don't flare out any of the, don't wanna flare out the nylon part. This is where it gets a little tricky, as I don't wanna flare out the nylon part. And then just start pressing and twisting at the same time. This part stinks because you gotta put some serious force onto it every time. Come on. Once it catches, then it's pretty easy, but it's getting that initial catch right there it goes. And then you just gotta keep pressing and spinning. And now that we've started the catch can lines, let's take a look at this catch can. This thing is a lot nicer than I thought it would be. I did buy it myself. I bought it from Night Run Garage. Guys, check them out down below. This is a Vibrant catch can, so let me show you what this bad boy looks like. And here it is. So it comes in this nice little box, you know, typical Vibrant. It tells you about it. This is a baffled catch can. It does have a recessed filter. So on the bottom here, it has a -8 bung that you can drain the fluid out of. I like that it has this little mount already built into it. And if you loosen up these screws here, you can take this off and rotate it any way. Now, these screw holes too are slotted, so this is a true 360 degrees. It can be mounted however you would like. I plan on taking this off and put it in the tab the complete other side, as I'll show you guys how I want to mount it. It does come with two -10 bungs. These are -10 male on this side to a -10 orb on this side with an O-ring. And it does have this, which I love, love, love. It has a built-in dipstick. Love that, and it's double O-ring, so obviously you don't want it pushing out because of pressure. And it has this recessed like mesh filter. Now, one thing I'm probably going to do is stuff inside of this some filter material, so I'm probably gonna put some mesh inside of this can itself. So let's go ahead and open this thing up and see what it looks like inside. Okay, so you just need to remove these 6 little recessed heads, and then you can see it has the little mount there that can be rotated, so I can just pop that off to rotate it. I went ahead and took the dipstick out of it too. This is, I think it's just a piece of aluminum, so it's nothing crazy, but it's just to check oil. And again, it is double O-ringed, if you can see it there. It's like a nice black anodized too, which I like. This is anodized. I'm probably gonna have this anodized or powder coated black. One thing too, it does come with an extra O-ring, so if you do rip that over time, it comes with an extra. It comes with instructions too, but I think this is pretty straightforward for you guys. Now I'm gonna have to remove a little bit more here. Once you take those bolts out, you can see the filter element there, and you can see the one side. See if it lets me focus in here. Come on. Focus in there. It's pretty much empty with some drilled holes. So that's where I'm saying I need to put some type of mesh in here like this to catch a little bit more so it's not coming up and out of the car. That's great that it's there, but it needs a little bit more to help catch stuff. So I'm going to take these 2 out next to see the other side to make sure, is there anything on that side, or is it completely open inside and the only filter you have is the few holes and then this mesh right here. So hopefully this shows up on camera here, guys, but if you see in there, there's nothing in there. So it just has those drilled holes. So what I'm going to do is get some like 0.00 steel wool and stick it on that side and on this side to help baffle this up some. Not a big deal. It's not very hard to do. So I'm just going to go run out here, grab some steel wool to shove in there. This will help filter it down and break and catch all the oil. And then once the car is off, it helps settle to the bottom. You don't need a ton. You don't need things super fine either. So I'm probably going to use some thicker mesh in there. Just some steel wool you can get from, say, like Lowe's, Home Depot, or even the dollar store. Okay guys, so I've got this apart and this can is empty. Now it does have this plate with drill holes in it, but besides this mesh here on this complete, both sides is empty. So what I did is, let's see if we can focus here, come on. I just stuck some mesh wool down there, ripped it apart, put some mesh steel wool down there, and that'll help break it up and catch till it goes to this side. I didn't put it on this side yet, and if I have to I will, as I don't want to put too much because I want it to breathe properly, but I went ahead and stuffed that down there to help catch everything, and if I have to I can put more up top here, and then 2 pieces on that side. You can get that from the dollar store, very, very cheap. I went ahead and rotated this also, and I'm going to bolt it back up, and I'm going to show you guys where I'm going to mount the engine bay, and then show you how I'm going to have to make a plate, 2 of them bolt to the chassis. All right, so I made the bracket for this thing, and it took me 2 tries. Big thank you to TJ Minnick. He gave me some stainless steel to do this. This is 1/8 inch Wade Fab, or as you know on Instagram, I'll link him here. He corrected me on Instagram. It is 1/8 inch, not 1/4 inch. It's a little bit of a pain in the butt to do this. I want to show you guys the tools I did this to. When everyone says like, it's hard, I can't do it. I have to do this outside because it makes a mess. I won't do it inside my garage. And on top of that, I want to show you the tools that I used to make this bracket. I want to show you the bracket first and then show you the tools I used to make it. So another thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna flip up a picture here because it's not in the car and we're getting ready to weld it. So here is the bracket itself, and I marked that as top, but that is the bracket itself. And it doesn't look like much here, but when you see it in the engine bay, it's like, oh man, it looks pretty good. I round out the edges, has this angle coming in so it's not just squared off. This rounds down and then swoops out. The reason for that is it has to be offset in the way the can's set up, and this is how it attaches to the can. So you have to keep this piece. So there's certain things you have to do unless I wanted to weld to the can, which I didn't. I want to keep the factory bracket because I think that's a cool design. Now, one thing I want to show you, this is 1/8 inch stainless steel, so it's pretty thick, which should suffice, but I did make this little bridge piece. I call it a bridge, maybe there's a proper name, so please correct me. The little bridge is going to be like that to help keep it sturdy from flexing, right? I don't want this can, which has some little bit of weight to it, going like this, flex around and bang against the body, you know? Her car's an automatic, so when you shift, it shouldn't bang down or have any problems. I did give some room, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. By adding this little bridge, it gives some rigidity, brings it to this edge, and again, I'm only using one 10mm bolt to hold this on. And now before anyone says anything, Ryan, that's not enough. All my catch cans I've ever used, including this one, uses one 10mm bolt. There's a little bracket underneath there that holds it on, and it's holding this big can. That can weighs more than that one also. Now, you saw how I did that, and I showed you guys the picture up here. So now this is what I used. To cut it, I used a reciprocating saw. That's how I cut all the pieces off. Yes, it was not perfect. Yes, it sucked. I was gonna use a grinder, but it doesn't work as well, so I used that to cut it. It was a lot faster. And then to clean it up, this is the only other thing. Well, to bend the bracket, I used a vise and a giant hammer. I just took my Wilton vise here and I beat it with a hammer to bend it. There was nothing else I had. And then I used, this is my dad's. I don't even own one of these. The mess it made. This is why I do it outside, because look at all this. I do this outside for a reason. I use this to then grind everything down and make it smooth. I think my dad's probably had this for 30 years. It is old, but it worked just fine for me today. So I'm pretty happy about that. But that's it. I used 3 things: a vise, a reciprocating saw, and a bench grinder. Any bench grinder would work. That's nothing special. I think it's only a 1/3 horsepower and it worked perfect for my needs. So guys, I'm pretty happy the way it turned out. Austin ended up welling this for me. I had to run her to the hospital. Again, another story for my wife and the kids. So again, we'll talk about that more. Sorry, I'm just trying to stick with the cars for now. I'll show you the kids here later on. I'm not trying to push it off, but it is my family. And just until my wife is ready, we'll have a day and we'll go over the kids and show you them and talk about it. But this is what I wanted to show you. The catch can is in. This is what it looks like from here. Now, if you guys can even see from here, it's slightly tilted up. And it's because when we welded it, you know, I was at his shop and I said, we got to keep it as even as possible, but I didn't want it bending down. And I said, well, he's like, let's elevate it some. If you need to, you can bend the bracket down. So this is what it looks like. Again, it is going to be powder coated. It's not perfect. I'm pretty happy with this. Is what it looks like from above. Now the one edge back here, I'm gonna have to take it to the grinder and round that edge off because it's got, just again, when I did it, I wasn't sure what was gonna fit. You know, I didn't have a welder here, so I was like, okay, I'm not sure how much extra material it needs. Like, I'm not sure, like aluminum, you need to leave a little bit because when you do it, it shrinks in some. So I didn't realize with stainless, it doesn't. I've been learning a lot through all this. But again, you can see the bridge here now and you can see. Now here's one thing I did notice though, listen. And it's because there's only one bolt hole holding it on. In this side over here, it's bending down and it's hitting. So I might have to put some behind, like a piece of rubber. You can see it bends out some. This thing's not heavy, and again, it's not banging gears, but I don't want to hear that noise inside. But I mean, it would take some serious force to bend down. I could put my hand underneath the can, but again, I'm gonna not bend it down from this bracket. I'm just gonna bend it here, this area right here. I left a little bit of room, so bend it to flatten it out some, so it looks a little bit better, still clears, and it works out. Everyone keeps laughing too. The catch can's smiling. I never realized that until someone pointed it out. And again, I have two fittings coming. The dash 10 fittings that were in it didn't allow for enough room. As you see here, if you had the dash 10, then put big dash 10 fittings on it, it came up high and it was gonna hit the hood. So I'm using an orb to an extreme 90-degree angle right off here, so to keep it nice and low. I think it looks better, plus it'll be easier to get to the old dipstick. I love that feature. I absolutely love this. I've seen people use like the plastic sights. I don't think they look as good, and this is just as easy. This can is massive. You see my hand next to it. There's plenty of oil for most guys, and this is cheap. Night Run Garage has this on their website right now for $149 shipped. Like guys, you can't beat that. For a nice catch can that comes with a bracket, do you have to make your own? Yes. Do you have to weld it like mine? No, I did try bending it. It was close. It just didn't look as pretty. So I thought this looked better. I liked the way it set. I figured if I was gonna do this, I'd do it right, but you don't have to. All you would have to do is take that bracket, it has the two holes, put it in a vise, bang it down so it has like a 90-degree angle, and then bolt it right up to this hole. Did it sit perfect? No. Did it sit higher than I liked? Yes. So that's why we have this little setup and contraption. Again, not necessary, but it could work for you. So something else I wanted to go over in today's video is how to adjust your door glass. I noticed there's nothing online for this, and I'm just gonna show you guys the basics. I'm gonna actually link down below too the Toyota book for this. So I mean, if there's more information for this is all I could find, but this is per the book, how you adjust this. So I've already got the driver's side door panel off because I wanna show you guys what's going on here. So her glass is the original glass in the car. It still has the Toyota stickers on it. That's kind of why I don't wanna tint it, because I love having this original stereo stickers, the original Toyota glass, original door. Now, something must have been askew at one time, just because it's done this since I've owned it. So it's not after paint or anything, it's not this, it's done this since I picked it up. So when I go to close it here, see right there, hold on here, sit back. It's literally hitting right at the bottom of this. Now I can't close the door, but it's pressing on that and pushing up and under. And then when you try to pull it out, it's very tight. That's a little too much. So what you need to do is remove the door panel. Now what sucks is I just sealed this all up, and then after it was all said and done, I realized I needed to adjust that. Kind of sucks. So I got to pull this off. It has this bundle tape I put on here. I used way too thick. That's 3/8. You need like 1/4 inch or 1/8 is actually ideal. So I got to pull this off. I'm gonna use some plastic trim tools to pull this out. But the first thing you're gonna need to do is this little lock nut here, or this little bolt here. It's a 10mm bolt. You're gonna pull that off first. Then you're gonna wanna unlock this guy here. This is like your swing lock. You're gonna pull that off. So let me go ahead and pull this off, and I'll go from there. You're also gonna have to, let me see here. Am I gonna have to pull this off? I believe so. I'm gonna have to pull this off to get the tape out, and then use a trim tool to pull this off slowly, because this is brand new plastic. I put a brand new vapor barrier in here because the last thing I wanted was moisture in the car. I even did the way Toyota did. I taped down here. They actually taped this bottom part with just clear plastic tape. So yeah, let me go ahead and pull this off, and we'll go from there. All right, that was a bit of a pain trying to get this glass lined up. I know why like auto body places hate doing this, especially frameless like this is a pain, right? Because you're trying to get it perfect lining up here, because if you tilt it too much, then it throws it off there. It's still not perfect, but I think it's really tight because these seals are brand new. Like looking at how much this is bulged out right here compared to my car, which is like flattened over, is why it's probably so tight. But when I shut the door, let me show you here. I'm gonna put this tape up so this wiring doesn't get hit. Oh, come on. I just need that to be held up for a second. So when I go to shut the door, all right, you can see, all right, it's not hitting the seal here anymore though, which is good. So I've got that adjusted down up front, but when I go to close it, you gotta close it. So it closes. Now when I do release it, it has a little bit of tension. So when I go to pull it, look, I mean, has a little bit of tension, but I think this will seal nice and stuff, and I think that's kind of the point, so it doesn't leak. So it seems to be good now. One thing I did notice, and the reason I know it was off, is there was a wear line here. So the glass had like a wear line here, and it was above this rubber area, meaning that it was going too far, because that's obviously where it's rubbing and getting dirt over time. So once I lowered it down, it lined up perfectly up here and up front. So when they must have taken this apart years ago, they just never lined it up properly, and now it is. So makes me happy. Should be good to go now. Only thing I gotta do is put it all back together. One thing I'm gonna show you guys here is inside of here, you're gonna take off this yellow tape, or the clear tape. What you guys are gonna do is you're gonna wanna take off this clear film, and then back behind here, you've got 4 10mm bolts you're gonna remove. You gotta remove these 3 first, and then there should be one here, and then one underneath here. Once you've taken that off, and you've taken the clear tape off, there is 3 bolts. One here, here, and here. You don't have to take this off, but I took it off just to get to a little bit easier. That allows you to adjust this up and down, or not up and down, side to side, and move the corners around, and it does take some finagling. Then you need to also move your stops if the glass is too high. You want to literally put the electric motor back on, or put the electric switch back on, lower it down, bring these down to scotch, put it back on again, raise it up, and make them stop on these. These are literally your stops, so it should line up in that manner. I think the glass could go back a smidge, but if I do that then the stops aren't right. So it's just slightly off. I don't think anyone will ever notice, but it's one of those things for me. I'm like, it could be slightly better. Again, I used way too large a buttle tape here. This is like 3/8. You can see it's massive. It doesn't press on the door or anything, but I could have definitely done a better job there. So let's put the speakers back in and get this thing all back together and see if this works the way I hope it does. All right, guys, thank you very much for tuning in today. I'm finishing it off here. You saw the catch can. You saw a little bit of the glass there. Sorry to show more of the glass. That was just before I was dealing with the kids. It didn't have very much time, so I apologize. That's why I said, hey, I'm going to show you. But I was running back and forth inside the house. You know, kids are kids. So I just want to be able to show you that you can adjust the glass. It is not very hard. Please, please, please. Just as I showed you, there's 3 bolts adjusted and it'll tilt. The one bracket on the bottom I showed you, that just tilts the glass in and out, okay? You won't most likely have to touch that unless your glass is sticking out too far or leaning in too far. I didn't have to mess with it. I just had to move those 3 bolts that let it angle forward and back. And it wasn't that bad. You gotta play with it some. There's no power tools. You just loosen them up, play with it, shimmy it around till you find it. I kept closing the door and I put it back together. Took me about an hour, and that's me being very, very picky. So, I mean, if you're good at this, probably take you 15 to 30 minutes. Okay, guys, thank you very much for tuning in today. I appreciate you guys staying with me through all of this. I'm trying to still get out videos, so thank you guys very much, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.